Hi, welcome to Rick's Garage. So I've had a bit of a setback, or what feels like a major setback to me. I shall explain more in a moment. So yes, welcome back to this episode of Rick's Garage. Thank you very much as always for tuning in. So, as many of you may be aware, I've been rebuilding the underside of my GTV for a considerable amount of time. I got everything back together in the last couple of weeks. I started it up for the first time in 18 months and everything was fantastic. I was chuffed to bits. So fast forward a couple of weeks, I come back into the garage because I wanted to start her up, pull her out of the garage to refit the side skirts and the wings. When I went to crank it, the battery was completely and utterly flat, which was a bit of a surprise for me. So I jump started her, no problem, got her going, and then unfortunately that battery light on the instrument cluster was illuminated and my heart sunk. So to cut a long story short, the battery light on the instrument cluster can only be one thing, and that is because the battery isn't charging via the alternator, or at least in most cases. So I did a bit of testing on it. First port of call was to change the battery. The battery had been on a conditioner for a long time, so I changed the battery, put in a new one. As you can see from this photo, the new battery is considerably larger than the old one, the one I'd taken out. So somebody hadn't put quite the correct battery in it. So that was a good start. Fitted the new battery, came to it, tried to start it again, which it started nice and healthy, but the battery light was still on, meaning the battery still isn't charging. So I tested the battery with a multimeter. It was reading 12.3 volts with the engine off. With the engine running, it went up to 12.6 volts, so there's a little bit of a change. It's doing something, but next to nothing. So I also tested the alternator itself with the multimeter to check the diodes, and unfortunately the readings were very low, and also the same when you swap the leads over from the casing to the live connection, if you like, or where the live connection would go, and there was no change in the reading at all. That means that the alternator is letting current back through, at least that's what it means to my knowledge. So yes, unfortunately my worst fears were confirmed. The alternator needs to come out. So you may be thinking, why is that such a bad thing? Well, if you know these cars, you will know that to remove the alternator on one of these is an absolute, it's a pig of a job. It's very labour intensive. It isn't accessible. It's very well hidden. Now, I actually tried to prevent this because if you guys have been following me for a while, on one of my previous videos, you will notice that a few months ago, when I had everything off underneath the car, I actually had the starter motor and alternator checked over to make sure they had a good bill of health. So this is something I did try to prevent. So yeah, those went back in, and now I just can't believe that, you know, the very thing I tried to prevent, this nightmare has happened so quickly. So there's only one thing for it. The alternator has got to come out. Now, with regards to removal of the alternator on one of these, I'm sure there are means and ways to doing it, an easier way, but personally I don't want to take any shortcuts. Now, as you know, everything underneath my car has been freshly powder coated. I've put a lot of time, effort and money into it, and I don't want to ruin any of my hard work. So I'm going to cut no corners whatsoever. I'm going to do it properly. I'm going to take the subframe back off and anything else that needs to come off, and I'm going to get that alternator out. Now, you may find this video useful if you want to remove the alternator yourself, but if you want a more detailed video on removing the subframe, then I have covered that in one of my earlier videos. Please check out my GTV playlist. But yes, now as you can see, the car is now a different way inside the garage. That's because I did manage to start her up and run her just off the battery, just to turn the car around, and I've pulled it in front ways. So I've got a lot more work, a lot more room in front of the car to work. It's closer to the bench and all my tools. Everything's more easily accessible. So yeah, I'm still made up with the car. I'm not downhearted. I really want to get her back on the road now. So yeah, I've done a little video for you just so I can show you how the car stands today, how she looks, and then from there I'm going to get straight into the process of removal of this alternator. So as always, sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice cup of tea or coffee and enjoy.
Do you wanna dance?
So there you go guys, job done. The alternator has successfully been removed from the car yet again. A little bit heartbreaking for me, you know. I've only just put this car back together. Everything was freshly powder coated and everything's been disturbed now, but you know, these things happen. It had to come out. There's no other way around it. I'm going to get this alternator sorted out now in the meantime, but you know, as soon as I've got an update for you, I shall let you know. So it's very late at night now, or should I say very early in the morning. But you know, 90% of the work done on my cars is always done through the night. That's the only way I can fit it in around work and family. Anybody who knows me closely will tell you that. But yeah, if you want to do these kind of things, sometimes you've just got to make time. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I'm off to bed. See you next time. Bye bye.